While I was on the Queen Mary this past February of 2010, I had a string of meetings scheduled, including interviews with Jackie Chase with Cunard Line, Mark Perry, a television producer, Will Kane, the honorary captain of the Queen Mary, Gavin MacLeod from The Love Boat, Amy Roloff, a star in her own reality TV show, and finally, a friend of mine who got me started in talk shows, Jeff Roney. Well, let's get on with today's show, an interview with Jeff Geston, who is a district sales manager for Celebrity Cruises. This is Barry with Cruising Authority at cruisetalkshow.com, and we're aboard the Queen Mary in Long Beach, and I'm here with a friend of mine. We've been friends for a long time, and we don't see a lot of each other, but we've talked on the phone and, emailed, and Jeff is a district sales manager for Celebrity Cruises, one of my favorite cruise lines, and so we're going to talk to him a little bit about that. But first, let's talk a little bit about how you got started in the cruise industry. I think it's a fascinating story.
You bet. Actually, Barry, I started, first of all, here on the Queen Mary in Long Beach in 1981, working as a tour guide. Did that for about 9 months right out of high school, and then was fortunate enough to land a job on the SS Azure Seas, sailing out of San Pedro, just over the bridge, and doing 3 and 4 nights at Ensenada. Worked on board ship as a purser for 2 years and thoroughly enjoyed that, realizing one of my dreams since I was about 12 of wanting to work on a cruise ship.
Now, you also crossed the Atlantic on the QE2 and had an interesting story.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I was 16. It was set in summer of 79, and did a round-trip transatlantic on the QE2 when she had her original steam turbines with the 3 boilers, and they were talking, fuel was going up, and they thought it might be her last season, and so I booked a round-trip passage. It was cheaper than going one way by ship and flying home, and I was thrilled to do a round-trip transatlantic, and I think what you're referring to on the trip home, we actually got into 87-foot seas. The 12-ton bow anchor of the ship was shoved right through the hull and knocked out 6 windows in the, at the time it was the Tables of the World restaurant, which later became the Mauritania restaurant. So it was quite exhilarating, and I actually enjoyed it.
I do. I like being on a ship in rough seas. I mean, I know I'm odd, but it's just what I like about it is to be able to experience the ship in its element.
That's right. And having toured the Queen Mary, and at that point I hadn't worked on it yet, but seeing the black and white photos of the Queen Mary that we're on today going through these walls of water and heavy seas, I thought, wow, not everybody gets a storm on their transatlantic crossing.
Exactly. Now, you also designed and built your own ocean liner.
That's right. Started designing that when I was 14, and building it. Started designing when I was about 13, started building it April 23rd of 77 when I was 14, and christened it January the 18th of 1981, right here at the bow of the Queen Mary. It was called the Ocean Queen, and it was 11 feet, or it is, I still have it. It's 11 feet long. It was built 1/8 inch scale to the foot, so it would have been 1,050 feet long, and I figured about 85,000 tons. And we sailed it 5 miles from here to Alameda Bay, just inside the breakwater. We had a flotilla of yachts and so forth, and Helen O'Connell, a big band singer with the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra, broke a little miniature bottle of champagne on the bow. It was quite exciting.
That would be. Well, I really want to talk right now about Celebrity Cruises and the new Celebrity Solstice class ship that you have out. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely, Barry, and that's the last time I saw you was on the Solstice inaugural in November of 08.
We had coffee on the aft deck.
That's right, on the Teak Lido. I'll tell you, these ships truly are, I believe, the most elegant, sophisticated, and beautiful ships at sea today. We're building 5 of them. The first is Solstice, entered service November the 23rd of 08, just a little over a year ago. We took delivery of the Equinox August the 8th of 09, and we take delivery of the Eclipse in April, just in a couple of months. She'll have her inaugural season in Europe. And then we've just announced, you may or may not have heard, we've announced the name of the 4th Solstice class will be Silhouette, Celebrity Silhouette.
I think I did hear that.
Did you hear that? And then the 5th is still yet to be named.
You know, that's the name Silhouette. You can imagine a lot of interesting things they can do with a decor.
Absolutely.
With Silhouette as the name.
As the name, and really play on that. Interesting to note that the 5 Solstice-class ships, Barry, is the largest single new-build ship order in the history of the cruise industry, of any single cruise line or cruise brand. To build 5 new ships, $3.7 billion, $740,000 a ship.
That's really amazing. Now, I also understand that, what was it, the Equinox that is in Europe?
Yes, the Equinox and the Solstice were in Europe last year. The Equinox will return to Europe again this coming spring, and she'll be doing a combination of 13 and 14 night Mediterranean/Ancient Empire Holy Land itineraries.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
Yes, very nice.
Where do they leave out of?
Round trip out of Rome. 13 and 14 nights round trip out of Rome. You overnight in Alexandria, Egypt. You're there 2 full days, a chance to go and see the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx. You also go into Ashdod for Jerusalem, Israel, and then into Haifa for Galilee. So you have 2 days in Israel and 2 days in Alexandria, Egypt. You visit Rhodes or Santorini, Naples. It's just Athens, Ephesus, where Paul preached. Just an incredible itinerary. I was fortunate enough to escort a group of travel partners this past October and did that very itinerary.
Wow. Now, what I was always wondering about is when you go to Israel or Jerusalem, is it a short excursion? How long is that excursion? Sure. Is it by bus?
Yeah, I did excursions in each of those ports of call, and they were full-day tours. They ranged anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. I think the Alexandria, Egypt tour was just almost 13 hours, and it's a fully escorted. They had snacks on the bus. They included a biblical lunch in Ephesus, included lunch at a hotel in Jerusalem, included lunch at a hotel in Alexandria, Egypt, because you're away from the ship for a good 10 to 12, 13 hours. So it does include your meals, and very, very nice. Really, the only way, it's not like going into St. Thomas and you may just walk into town and do some shopping or catch a taxi over to Red Hook and go over to St. John and do your own thing. When you're in that part of the world, you really, in order to see it thoroughly and properly, you want to do a tour.
Absolutely. That sounds really exciting. I'm so thrilled with those Solstice-class ships. Now, what about the other class of ships that is in the Celebrity fleet?
Yes.
I see they're starting to be sent off to other cruise lines that are being sold.
Well, actually, the Horizon was the first to go, and then the Zenith, and they were identical sister ships. I think you worked.
I worked on the Zenith.
Yes. So those vessels at 46,000 tons, Horizon, Zenith, are both gone and have been for a couple of years now. And then in April, almost a year ago now, the Galaxy left our fleet, one of the Century class. There are no plans to retire or depart any of the other tonnage at this point. To the contrary, Barry, we're actually investing close to $200 million in an extensive revitalization of the Millennium class ships. And that $200 million includes our new Celebrity Life onboard programming, where we go beyond napkin folding, bingo, and shuffleboard to lots of unique activities with Rosetta Stone language classes and stargazing at sea with a laser pointer on deck 16. Wow. And lots of unique and fun interactive activities the guests are enjoying. And then our new enhanced Captain's Club program, where guests of Royal Caribbean can start out from cruise number 1 on Celebrity as long as they're a platinum member or above and be recognized at the corresponding levels. But anyways, real quickly, getting back to the $200 million, most of that is going towards the revitalization of the Millennium class. We're going to be adding many of the signature elements that have proven so popular on the Solstice class.
Oh, that's
the Tuscan Grill Steakhouse. Did you get a chance to
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so did I.
Fantastic.
Well, that's going to now be on board all of the Millennium class ships. The first ship to be done will be the Constellation this April. We're adding the Bistro on 5, our delicious creperie with the breakfast and dessert and lunch crepes and so forth. We're adding the wine bar with the enigmatic wine dispensers where you can do a pour by the ounce, flat screen TVs, new upholstery, new bedding, new carpeting throughout all staterooms, throughout the entire ship. The Millennium class, let me just make this point, are so beautiful as they are today. As a matter of fact, the Millennium underwent an $11 million renovation this last April and looks like a brand new ship. So they're not in need of repair, but we want to solsticize them. We want to give them the look and feel and flavor of our Solstice class ships. And last and most
So there's
notably,
continuity,
yes,
throughout the fleet.
Absolutely. There'll be a smaller, more intimate version, but we'll add the martini bar with the frozen ice crystal bar top on like you have on the Solstice.
That sounds really exciting. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for being on Cruising Authority. There's so many exciting things happening at Celebrity. I had to have you on our show.
Thank you, Barry. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jeff Geston. This is Barry with Cruising Authority at cruisetalkshow.com. Say, if you're interested in booking a cruise with Celebrity Cruises, I have a cruise broker that can get you the best rates, the best amenities, the best upgrades. All you have to do is drop me an email at cruisetalkshow@aol.com, and I'll send you the contact information for this cruise broker. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, I want to wish you smooth seas.